Yes. Okay, there we are. I'm gonna have to stop the share for a second here. I just stopped the share so I could get into my Soundflower easier.
Right.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
We have to bring people in on the broadcast here, so maybe we should
I'm
do
just
that.
waiting for you to click play the video.
Vince, can we announce the 100th thing to be starting on Thursday?
Starting on Thursday?
That they can log in and enroll
Okay,
for the...
let me, we're on the live stream here now, so let's just get going. I've got sound. We look good here, so
Okay.
let's get recording and ready to do the announcement. Okay, I'll play the video.
We're still waiting for the video, Rick, here. We don't see it. Hello, Rick? Okay, I'm going to click the broadcast button and we'll click record to the cloud. Just 1 second.
Okay, let's try that again. This is the One Planet video from the Keshe Foundation.
You are people listening from every corner of this planet. No knowledge has been dispersed so beautifully, so balanced across the planet, on this planet ever, maybe in the universe. You have the full potential of achieving everything in the universe. There is no need and there is no reason for man not to achieve. So, wherever you are, the way I taught you to make the coils double coil inside, you have continuous equal gravitational magnetic field, and if you put CO2 on it, and you put zinc on it, you have connected the emotion of the man to it on a stable condition, and you'll find out you become a very peaceful man. Here, instead of having galaxies and universes and creating connection magnetically, we have used the matter state gravitational magnetic field strength to dominate and dictate the shape of the plasma. The nanotechnology, the nanomaterial which you have collectively developed in different ways, by caustic, by electric currents, by whatever, fire or whatever, has that advantage that the matter, the nano and the plasma is all the same. So connection is very solid, it's very strong. The power of the plasma technology, the way we have thought, is beyond imagination of the man. Now you can create and control the plasma, which is the mother of the creation of the universe. You are given the seed of the essence of the creation. The foundation does not belong to no one and is not made of one anymore. You are developing it, you are structuring it, and from today, we will be still the same. We'll still develop the technology in different names, in different colors, in different nationalities which they do not exist. It is beautiful when we see the Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, and every other belief are working together to build up systems. We have already become one faith. We already have become one nation, and we already become one planet. You got to remember one thing. Dates is irrelevant. Today is the last day of the Christian calendar, or tomorrow is the beginning of another. One day is connected to another. We don't stop. We are working around the clock. The Keshe Foundation team is working irrespective of time, position, religion, country. And now we achieve what we set out for.
You're invited to partake in the creation of humanity's first Universal Community Council on April 21st and 22nd, 2016 in Dubai at the One Planet, One Nation, One Race Conference. World leaders and prominent business persons have been invited to attend. However, representatives of the Council will be selected irrespective of language, race, creed, or position in life. The Council will have many responsibilities. It will support the people of humanity and their governments. It will help bring balance across the globe and unite humanity for the benefit of all mankind. It will act as a bridge between humanity and the universal community. The first 500 packages sold will cost €500. All thereafter, €750, which includes one seat in the main conference room and 3-night stay in Dubai's prestigious 5-star Alanis Palm Hotel, 2 persons per room. Breakfast on the days of the conference are also included. 2 tea breaks and 1 lunch per day will cost an additional €75 per day. Discount airfares are also available. The One Planet, One Nation, One Race Conference. You're invited. We hope to see you there.
Welcome everyone to the 6th International Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again today we'll be here with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, and I think he's ready to begin today's teaching. And Mr. Keshe, are you available there?
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these international teaching. In so many ways, we started with the Spanish teaching, the Chinese teaching, the Italian teaching, the health teachings. And this, in reality, if you put it together, is something like 70, 80 teaching, which we are carrying on. But in totality, we have become, as what we call, one nation. So it's an international teaching on Tuesday afternoon where in so many ways we bring everything which is possible to learn from each other on the roof of the international teaching, which is more or less the same as Thursdays. But we try to concentrate more on the health on Tuesdays, that if we can, to expand the knowledge on the health section. There is a couple of things which has been usual announce, and I think we have to bring it forward. I would like to thank all the Keshe Foundation members or individuals who work around the foundation. They are teaching, they are organizing meetings around the world, they are translating. In so many ways, they have become the backbone of Keshe Foundation. What I call, they are not unsung heroes, but there are those who get the message out that there is a change, there is a new beginning, there is a new way that as a race we can live together peacefully. I would like to thank you. It doesn't matter if you're listening or you might listen later on, or you are doing things by giving whatever pens and pads and whatever you do, teaching how to make nanomaterials. Those of you who go to distant places to teach the others how to do things in the case of they need to help themselves in any shape or form. We become a multinational, and as I've said before, we become one of the most powerful scientific organizations, which is run under umbrella of one nation. We run everything under one name. The unity and the unity of mankind, unity of human race, that we can, instead of spending money on destroying each other, we spend money on improving each other's life. In so many ways, I thank you all. Doesn't matter if you ever come or you're appreciative what we do, what you've done for the foundation, and we thank you for everything you are doing. Hopefully soon or later, somebody will receive the benefit of what you've done, and they thank you for what you've done through their souls, not necessarily by verb. I see huge number of groups are gathering around the internet and other forms and shapes in companies or production or whatever. Please keep the ethos of the Keshe Foundation and work through this ethos of the Keshe Foundation. In so many ways, we have become a new criteria in life. We have become a way to work and to share. And maybe through it, we can bring, for those who need us without them knowing, we become the provider. There are a couple of things as we promised, we are keeping to it, and we are going in so many ways faster. Is we announce it today and we announce it again on the following teachings to come. We had a meeting with the teachers of the Keshe Foundation group a couple of nights ago, and we are aware of the rapid development around the Keshe Foundation in different languages and different countries. We have become, and we are aware that we cannot keep on teaching at the high level, at the adults level. So we are bringing in the teachings for up to 12, 13 years old. What we used to do at children teaching programs now on its own, and we are adding what we call it the teenage group, from like 10, 12s to 18, 20s, whatever, anybody who wants to join in and teach. Be part of the teaching of the youth. And so we announce from today that from Thursday of this week, you can go on the Keshe Foundation website and enroll yourself, your child, your teenager, to become or learn the technology of the Keshe Foundation from basic, from young age, or teenagers to come in and bring us new ideas. So the teaching courses of the Keshe Foundation from Thursday, opening registration is, and is going to be divided in the following way. For children, for youth, and for the adults, what we do now. And we try to divide it in the following way of languages. English, Italian, Chinese, German, or whatever. As we have and we see, we add languages to it. So those who are teaching in Bulgarian, you can come in and add to it. You can teach in Romanian, you can come and add to it, that people can listen maybe 3 hours, 6 hours of a week, or whenever they like, into the language you're teaching. But all the teachings around the world will come under the language section that everybody can learn. So the The structure is the same. The teaching is supported and will looked after by the foundation. And we have, as we promised, from Thursday, you can subscribe to become for 12 months student till end of December of this year for €100 per person. This is important. So from Thursday, you can go and enroll and become more or less a full-time student, or become or bring your children to be taught from the foundation by people who will be expert in the teaching. We've tried to bring scientists to teach, people who understand how to teach the children. So we set up the structure of the international teaching of the Keshe Foundation. We open the doors, hopefully with the webmasters behind, with Vince and Stanley and Carlos and Robert, that this can be accommodated. And we started teaching somewhere around second, third week of March. So we would like, if you want to join, you can enroll. We still go through the security check. There are plans which is getting set up by Vince and Stanley in the background. We will not allow any misuse or abuse of the structure. We monitor and we teach. We will make mistakes without a shadow of doubt, but that's part of the structure of the teaching and developing new things. In a coming time, we will announce a week, 2-week courses, what we call workshops around the world in different places. We will announce the structure of central teaching. The workshops, the first will be held in our center in Italy. It'll be handled by the Italian group. You can attend. We'll try to program it for 1 week or 2 weeks. Maximum capacity in Italy is 100 people. So when we announce it, the doors are closed. We put by language. If you have to, we do it like in Germans or Italians, and we move these teachings across. In China, we'll follow the same procedure. So we start announcing like maybe 20, 30 conferences, teaching conferences, workshops around the world on every week, every 2 weeks basis. So you can actually go and participate in teaching. You can go and participate in learning. You can go and participate in bringing your knowledge to the others in the workshops. So what these we announce, and the first one we announce will be, sometimes we try to do it in early April, before the Dubai conference in Valletta, which we already have the facilities. And the facilities is going to be assessed by Giovanni, how much you see to be for a week of teaching live on the workshop, or we do the weekend workshops. If people want to come for a weekend to learn, then if you are people who you organize things, we bring you into the event of the Keshe Foundation, so you can advertise you're running such a course from this place and how many people you can accommodate. There is a lot of teaching going in people's homes and houses. A lot of people cannot rent accommodation or a hall. We try to support you that while you're running your teachings or workshops, maybe we can give you a Zoom time that the others can join and be with you and part of it. So the teaching program to Keshe Foundation, which is the backbone of the whole, and the technology is opened up, as we said. It has to go this way because otherwise we will not cover the whole aspects of the teaching worldwide, and that's a part of the things we promised we'll bring in. Now we are achieving it. The structure is getting built up in the background for it to be available, and now is available. You can go on anytime from Thursday and register. We have a blacklist. We monitor. We ask the securities to come in and monitor. We are setting up international security if we can, by a number of different governments or associations with government securities, to protect and monitor even the teachings. The structure of the teaching, especially in English and most probably in Chinese and Italian, will be, as I've asked the group to do it, to bringing people in 2 or 3 people. What does it mean? You have 1 teacher or 3 teachers that while you are getting taught by one or 2 teachers in the background can answer your questions. Because when we go into large number of people and there's a lot of questions and developments, we cannot just sit and listen and obey whatever it's taught. If you want, there's a question, something else you're doing, teachers live will be in a group of 2 or 3 sitting with you in the teachings, a normal teaching. So if there are any questions, you don't need to wait. If the teacher asks your question or answers your question, there'll be support team live answering you as it comes. So the teaching is becoming very, very structured in a way that we can bring and support a few hundred, a few thousand people on each lesson. So at the same time, we will set up in the coming time a structure that is a monitor in the background, that if there is something interesting is taught by any other, let's say the Chinese are teaching something interesting, we can advise the other teachers that there is such a teaching going on, do you want to switch over? Or is advice for us to listen to it later on in other teachings? So we cross borders, we teach each other and work in that combination. There is a possibility that we will offer a full place as the health medical center of the Keshe Foundation in the coming time. What this means, we will establish a health center for all the activities of the Keshe Foundation to be monitored by governments, but the results known publicly. We will, in a coming short time, introduce what we call a defense technology worldwide. This is not a military application, I go in this section in detail teaching how you can defend, how you can protect those of you who are working or developing the space technology at home, or you're trying to achieve the spaceship. You should know how to protect yourself, how to set up your systems. When we see the first signs that there are people who are ready for that phase, we will teach you openly with the government's officials on the table. When we opened the defense technology for a space, I will personally invite head of militaries of different governments to be present on teaching. Which means I see this coming up in the next few weeks. We'll invite the American military, we will invite the Russian military, the Iranian, we are in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates military, the Chinese military officials who are sitting heavily in the background now, we know, monitoring a lot of things I've just come to understand recently, and so forth. That no one is abusing, but everybody is aware of the new technology. Why do we teach the defense? Because once you start lifting, you need to protect yourself. It's like we're going down again on the internet. The reason for teaching defense is that when you start seeing lift, when you start seeing motion in your systems, you have to know how to protect yourself, how to protect your lift, how to protect you personally, your structure, biological structure. So we are getting to that point, and I'm guiding a group of the Keshe Foundation close guarded team of the space and innovation to the direction of the lift. We will show full lift structure, biological structure. We can hear somebody's microphone open. So we will teach you how to protect yourself. A lot of you are developing the space programs. A lot of you are trying to achieve lift. Some of you have done, and some of you are in the process of getting there sooner or later. As a team, when you work, you will get there. So it is important for us now, by entering this phase, that we teach the defense technology as a space defense, but if it's abused or going to be abused, all the nations can use it together. So nobody's advantaged to use it. This will be a full defense technology shielding. This will include a full release of plasma packages to saturate, let's say, meteorite ahead of you. Creating of the tunnels of the fixed field strength that you can travel through it, does not harm or come in touch any strength different than what you have in the craft. These are the things which we start teaching heavily, and those of you who understand, especially government officials and sitting in the background, military which are looking for these things, might want to develop it, but it's there that we can support it together. This is part of the one nation, one race, one planet. So we'll see If other different nationalities support us, we'll learn together, or if they develop it, we'll go together on the same path. So the space health will come into the health application because we haven't even opened the teaching of the health. I'll try to touch it on the surface today's teaching. What this means, the health in space is different than what you are used to. The health in the space is not taking a tablet, is not putting a plasma through you. The health protection of the human body or anything else, the environment you live in, is done through interaction of the plasmas, which covers the whole entity. We have to understand how a space medicine works. How does it interact with us? How can it be used in its appropriate way in a space, not the way it's done at the moment. Here, the way you are developing it. It's very much interaction of the plasma within the plasma. What does this mean? At the moment, you take a solid tablet for a headache. In a space, there is no tablet. You have to create an environment for you alone while you're amongst the others, that the field can interact and bring balance what the cause of that headache is. You have to be able to understand if you reach a point of saturation with the plasma somewhere, your organs do not just disappear or in a way open up to another field of strength. These are the things which man on this planet has got no understanding of, but it becomes daily occurrence. We have to start understanding to what level we need to shield ourselves, that at the same time we receive enough that we can support life in the space, even in the craft, or even wherever we land or swim in or be part of. We need to understand that space technology through magnetic gravitational as a plasma is a different ball game than what we are used to. Part of this development is to understand the psychology of the physiology of the man, which means why does certain points in your body behaves this way at a given field. You got to understand a simplicity. I'm going to share a screen that you understand it. If I need to do. Can you stop sharing that I can go in, please, Vince? So I share, I hope is this one. And we share. Can you see the platform? Hello? Yes, okay. Okay, so what we're talking about is in two ways. At this moment of time, we take a tablet and we are happy with taking a tablet to get the headache. There are no tablets in the space. We have taught in part of the teachings on the private teachings, the concept and the understanding that we have to understand more about the structure of the brain of the man. In the brain of the man, we have a structure like this, where the emotion sits here in the middle, and then you have the full brain on two halves here. This is a crude way of showing it, but that's more or less what it is. What does this do? Up to now, everything we have taught has been about this. The physicality and the control of the neural system of the physicality of the body. In space and space technology, the only thing more or less you're concerned about is this. The rest, what we had here, is irrelevant. This opens up totally different new structure in the whole of the health business in the space. If we take this section of the brain of the man, we call it section 1, then we have to understand its work. This is part of the main brain of the body of the man. So what does this do? We have to understand, this is we already have taught partially in the private teachings. We are looking at the section 1. This is your section 1. We draw it cruelly that you can understand. Your emotion is here. This is your emotion. It's all gravitational magnetically field controlled. You have another part to this, which is your, let's say, fear. You have another part to it that is your joy. You have another part to it that is your sexual behavior, emotional reproduction. Now we go into the physical structure of the brain, and in fact, because here there is no physical movement, because the other part of the brain was to do with your arm, with your leg, with every single piece of your body. But the central part of the brain is to do with the operation of life of a man. And in space you'll find out that this chap here, if we can call him a chap here, can be interfered very easily by a space plasma. Your emotion here, if interacts, let's say, in a certain condition with another field, here you get depression. You never touched anything. But the field which comes from the plasma of the universe, which has managed to cross the boundary of your craft, if it is tuned with this section, let's say, it can give you fear or depression. If it comes and is at the given state of the strength and interacts with this part, can, let's say, give you joy. Can give you happiness in another section, in another strength. Because up to now, the world of science have not understood that emotions are gravitational magnetic field strength, which happens within the structure of the inner brain of the man. And this will become the most important part of the body of the man to protect in the space. The rest of the physicality is a consequence of what happens in this part. Intelligence is part of this structure. This part, where we call the main brain, the main part of the structure of the brain, is the controller of everything, and if it's not protected in space, can create mayhem. Let me tell you one thing which is very interesting. It has happened in space and will happen in space very rapidly if we do not understand it, for those of you who are working on it now. If, let's say, a field enters your body and touches, let's say, the section which the strength magnetic gravitational field is a fear. And this part of the fear, in this section of this part of the brain, decides, I am afraid, blah, blah, whatever. I dictate to the arm to dislocate itself, cut itself off, that I can survive. A misinformation. And we have seen it like in ILS, like in MS. Information goes for paralysis, and then information goes for total amputation by itself. It's like a skin. You find out you lose your arm for nothing. You have an arm, you don't have an arm next second. The same is with every other aspects. This is what the present world of medicine has no clue about. And this is where 80% of your work in health, operation in space has to concentrate on. Different ball game, different structure, different gravitational magnetic fields. So in this process, in this level of teaching, when we enter the space technology defense, it is not for you to protect your craft, it's mainly how not to allow a given strength which is fully available. It's like a, what I call bread and butter of a space magnetic field strength, is that this section never gets tampered with. Fields do not enter this zone that you go into a depression. Then you go in the overdrive that the brain, without knowing it, releases information into the physical part and it starts seizures and epileptic attacks. Because if this section receives the information which can be carried to the physicality and is too much, then the valve in the back of the head will stop working, shuts itself down, too much information, you go into a forever epileptic attack. So the new health space technology is something you have never been aware of, but you have to become aware of, because your life will depend on it. I have touched on this in one of the private teachings on the Wednesdays in past 2 or 3 weeks. Now we have to understand it. It's the responsibility of those who work in the health section of the Keshe Foundation and in the future coming to do, is to understand this operation. Because if you understand this operation, if you understand the strength of each layer, because your fear is not something imaginary. A given strength, gravitational magnetic field, is translated by our emotion as fear. A given strength received by the emotion, we call it joy. Another one we call whatever. And the emotions all controlled in this section because they do not need physicality. They only need information, gravitational magnetic field strength. And these are created by interaction of the fields which goes across. And then we see the reaction. If you have a fear in this section, the certain gravitational magnetic field strength is called the fear strength. Then you cuddle yourself physically, you hide in the hole somewhere, and the rest of it. Or you cringe because that's afraid they might do something to me. Every level in the human body, now we have to go in the plasmatic magnetic field strength direction. No more trying to give an arm moving or getting a leg moving or creating or solving the cancer, a condition that we can overcome cancer. More human race will die by interference of the fields in this section, more or less than anything else. Because a field from the space enters the zone, which is of the strength of something. It gives you a feeling of safety, it's comfortable, and you just walk into something which is a wall or a hole, or you land up in a planet that you don't even can exist, you'll be dissolved. So when we speak about the space defense technology, we talk about partially this, to make sure that no fields at no circumstances can reach the central brain system. At the same time, no field can reach neural system that through a spinal cord, or the interaction of the fields even with the organs or the skin of the man, and information strength at the strength of fear in the brain part of the body, which is to do with emotion, can be created. Because the body of the man is in a Gansa state, is not in a matter state that we have led to believe. And always say, if you understand this, then you can create a condition. You all have seen in the teachings going back 2 years ago from the Sansana and before, I always explain about happy systems, sad systems, cheeky systems. Because the energy they receive and they emit is at the strength to us is that. We've seen our Chinese scientists reporting where the magnetic systems are working, they call it the happy room. They are happy whenever you go into the room. Because the gravitational magnetic field created in the stacker unit at a given strength is the strength of the happy section of the emotion of the body of our Chinese colleagues and friends. So the defense technology in the space in respect to the knowledge of man, medical, is beyond your understanding and imagination. You cannot even, even our doctors and scientists cannot even imagine what was happening, and they were looking for where the body is happy or whatever it is. All our emotions, anything to do with non-physical interaction and the reaction, sits just underneath the two hard frames of the body of the man in the brain, where we see like a shoe horse, so two half shoes. These two half shoes, what I call horseshoes or whatever you want to call it, these are where the fields of the emotion are allowed to translate into the physical reaction. That's why they are there. So those of you who come into the medical application of the space technology, you are already in the full, should be in the full understanding of the motion of your craft, defense of the craft in respect to the fields, and even what we call emotional viruses. What does this mean? It means a gravitational magnetic field package will enter the craft, which can interact only with the emotional part, which is a protein based, and then what happens to you? You have a brain virus which is connected only to your emotion. And how would it develop? A virus is when a package of energy attaches himself to amino acid, be it by the strength of one of the four elements, or a combination of them, or a totality of them. It just needs to have something at a given strength that it can attach itself to, create gravitational magnetic field connection. So when we start speaking about space, true space health, it has nothing to do with what you have done, we have done in all the teachings. Space medicine, space health has to be understood the way the health of a passenger, what we call motions, understand, can help to survive any condition anywhere in space. Does not bear any resemblance to what we have taught as the health section in the health part of the development of the technology, or the systems which you are building, or the pens. Very much like AIDS that kills so much, or other viruses, space health in the virus level, to the link to the strength of the emotions of the man, it'll be a more deadlier problem than anything man has ever could imagine. These are energy packs which are at the strength of your happiness. Because they are at that strength, when they come to your brain and they can link up to the amino acid of the brain which is responsible to detect that strength, now you have a virus. And these viruses can be horrendous. In a way, maybe we can explain it. They say if you eat too much such a thing, it makes you laugh, you can't stop laughing. You literally can die from the virus, which brings you to laughter and happiness that you have no control. Maybe we call it this, a state of ecstasy. Space medicine, space health is literally nothing to do, more or less, with 90% of what we've been taught on a medical and health application up to now, even in the Keshe Foundation, as we brought you to understand the totality of the how things are. So we see why we have to, and we are in a way ready for accepting the space defense technology. We have to be able to defend ourselves, not against missiles or whatever, but we have to be able to be in position that we can protect ourselves against these kind of things. It's a must. It's the reality that If you thought, as I said, you were happy with one MAGRAF system, you still got a long way to go to understand. We are guiding a team, a group, to start building new type of spaceship reactors and systems. And the team is already getting a small touches of what is to come. We cannot and we should not be eluded by that. We have understood, now we are ready to do the space system, we are ready to make health systems. These health systems, except the one we have seen in recent past, partially, which was shown by Innovation Center in Philippines, will be more or less good enough for the man on Earth. A pen in space has no meaning, because if you understood the work and how it's connected to your neurosystem, you go directly to the emotional part where a strength is given, is shown or understood to be pain. You don't go to take a tablet to sort the problem. You go to the point why it is, the way it is, what the strength is. You have to learn a very simple language of science of space. And that is, everything is placed on the plasma and everything has a strength. Be it magnetical or gravitational, or what we call magrav strengths. One strength at a given magrav, gravitational and magnetical, we call pain. Another one we call joy. Another one we call fear, and so forth. It's impossible to say joy is something else than pain. No, our brain has been fixed to recognize certain gravitational magnetic field as pain. That's how we associate with it. And it's got nothing to do with the physical part of the brain of the man. Physically, it's not nothing to do with it. What does this mean? It means you do not feel pain because something is gone into your foot. You can walk for weeks with something in your foot you don't realize, until it creates a given strength in your body that says, this is pain. This is how cancer takes hold in the life of the man. This is how it's so painful to have a cancer, but is not detected because the strength of the pain of the opening of a cell in a certain position cavity, which is exactly like putting a pin in your foot, is equal to what man already knows. And by the time when it becomes so big that it releases a field as a total mass in the strength equal to pain, then we say, oh, I have a pain in my chest. And by the time you get it done, oh, it's a big lump of 7 centimeter and it's a cancer. In fact, the entity has already created a certain gravitational magnetic field which is within the spectrum of our feeling safe, and by the time it shows the first sign trying to push something which should not be pushed, we feel a pain, we go to the doctor. Excuse me, sir, you got a cancer 5 centimeters by 8 centimeters. It didn't grow overnight. It took months to grow, but it did not create the right strength that the human brain, in the emotional part of the brain, which is the controller of total body, could not recognize. So, do we need even to go through systems which need to reverse cancer? Or do we start the understanding operation of the center part of the brain of the man, and we control everything from there without no medicine? This is what the space medicine is about. There are no pharmaceuticals, and there'll be no tablets or chemotherapy. It's finding the information the way it has come, that we recognize it in the emotional part of the brain, and then we can give the same knowledge back to the physical part, that this thing here should not be. You create the right energy for it, and within a matter of seconds the body decides there's a foreign part there, we have to dissolve it. Whatever is done, you reverse cancer within minutes. This is what I explained before, and this is what the first helmets which we've seen developed by Innovation Center in Philippines is heading us to that direction. So this is not something which is just come out of the hat. This is something which I prepared you gradually to get there, that when it comes to it, you understand it. Do we need huge operations, or do we need to understand a very small part of the structure of the man in the brain to be able to do everything without any operation? And this is what we have to do. The health game, now that a lot of you are testing with different reactors, with different combination of fuels, with different structure and coils and cores and God knows everything else, we are heading for. We go from the full structure of the man with kilos of meat and flesh and whatever and blood, to one center point, in the center of the heart of the whole operation. And if you go back from the health teachings from the very beginning, very first lessons, we started the teaching of the health. I kept on emphasizing that when the time is right, like today, we can introduce the new dimension. We always kept, and I kept on teaching about the emotion. You have a blood, the emotion part of it. We spoke about the kidney, we spoke what's got to do with the physical part, what's got to do with the emotional part. Because now that we come to the maturity of understanding most of the work of the plasma, we can bring the knowledge in. And now most of us can understand. So in a space and a space technology, you have two responsibility. One is to be able to even feed the emotional part with the energy packages that can tell the rest of the physical part, I'm receiving everything I have, and you can have whatever you like, and there is no need for food. In fact, the somatic part of the body of the man becomes irrelevant, and as I always said, go back to very first teachings, I always said, the physical part of the body of the man is a leech which has attached itself to the emotional part. And the two have compromised in so many ways that I can't give you how to feel through the emotional part. You take me around where I can receive oxygen or energy or nitrogen or whatever, that I can have the control of my own existence. Division is very clear. Below, just about your heart and lung, is your physical connection. Your lung and your heart is your emotional connection. The two have separated themselves fully. Now, if you can make a system that can feed more higher energy impacts, like your lung conversion system and your heart feeding system, to give the energy directly to the emotional part, you do not need the digestion system. You do not need to get cancer, because 90% of our cancer comes through our physical part of our life. Even when you get the lung cancer, is a physical part of the lung which fails, that it ends up with the demise of the man on both ends, the emotional and physical. So as of today, as we said, this year we are ready to take man into space. Now we teach the true space technology. The true understanding of what it means to live in a space without the need to be within the structure of the physicality of the planet, any planet. Because now the universe is the oyster of life for man. Because now we have to understand, we have to be able through a plasma technology, the systems very much, at least initially, what we have seen developed in Philippines by the Innovation Center, and I see others are copying it, should be used. You don't feed the body of the man. You satisfy the emotion with the energy which can feed itself to the physicality, and man can exist. This is the time we see the growth of the man out of the shell of physicality. When you start changing the structure of the physicality, that it means 2 of the 5 fingers and toes are not needed, because these are the physical connections. We only will end up with 3 fingers and 3 literally toes, which carry partially connection and holding on to the emotion, that the physicality can exist. And when we saw the first videos and go back, what we saw with the situation in Canada with Ali, where we saw the fingers getting elongated or fingers not to be seen, you can see the attachment of the man to physicality or his control towards emotion. Now with these systems which you see coming up in what we call star formation, and in the dynamic star formation where the coil creates its own condition in the center, we'll find people feel happy. People will walk away blind and come into the system absolutely, they can see everything. Because even the sight has a strength which, if you can achieve it and create it, you do not need the eye to see the physical eye. The space technology of what is to come and what we start teaching from now on brings man to a totally new dimension in every aspect of the need for understanding of the right strength gravitational magnetic field. When you set up your systems, when you create a field, like our Chinese scientists who say when they go into the room, Lisa reported, they call it a happy room. Measure that field immediately. What is the strength of gravitational magnetic field in that room? Then you understand this is the happiness, the strength of Magraph. Register it, hold it. In a space, you go through a depression, you go to a position that you miss home. You want to be with somebody, you want to have contact with. What do? You create the strength of the happiness of the Chinese in the lab. The man feels satisfied, the man feels happy, he's content. We had the report from a Canadian woman who slept, who was in a Magraph system with Ali. The next day her eyes was what they call like crying, and after that she has got her sight back normal. These are not fairy tale, because the structure in that room is equal to the structure of the gravitational magnetic field of the vision nerve of the body of the man in the emotional part of the man, to recognize that it has adjusted itself to connect itself the correct way. So this is the promise of the prophet of the past. Every man will see. There shall be no blind. And we see in the beginning of it. Build up your systems according to what I teach you. Build up your system understanding what you do. Man will never die of disease. It's impossibilities. This is how a short life of few hundred years become thousands of years. And as I said to Caroline recently, she says, what are we going to do all this time in a space? I said, you will not have enough time to do what you want to do. Do we need to sleep? Does the 8-hour situation is applicable to us in your space? Because we don't have any more sunlight. We don't see a sunrise and sunset every 24 hours. The minute we put our foot beyond the earth and beyond the plasma of this solar system, day and night becomes irrelevant. Religion becomes irrelevant because we see the true creation. Because when you see the reality, you see the falsehood. Do we need to stay in touch? Do we need to understand the totality? Or do we go across and understand the work of the smallest part of the human body within the central neural system of the brain, and voila, you can have everything. But at the same time, when you have this knowledge, you have to protect the body of the man from the fields which are in the space, from the fields which can mimic the strength of different entities in the body of the man, that it doesn't come to creation of new problems. If you don't understand it, you invite problems. If you understand it, you block problems. And this is where we are heading for. I encourage you to develop and test new technologies with your course, new strength fields, new horizon of understanding of the totality. In the teachings to the Innovation Center and to the Spaceship Center, I was explaining something in past few days, very short. And these are important if you are setting up in this direction. One of them, for example, is how you load up your reactor. Understand how you make your coils. What we did, we started with what I call the Iranian nuclear-based alpha source reactors, which was originally designed in Belgium, and then it was tested in Tehran. These are based on hydrogen and based on alpha radiation and beta radiation and the rest, which created inside the system. We didn't need to put sources in it. Then in a further development in the Sensano, we came across what we call the cores. We went from 22 centimeter to 1 and 2 centimeter cores, where we load up with GaNs and we walked away from nuclear materials. Then in the recent past, in the past few months, we came up with the coils. If you look in the coils, as we said, we created the plasma. Here we created the plasma. Here we created plasma. In one, we learn the energy of the universe manipulation. In one, we learn the rotation. And in one, we learned non-tangibility. And then if you put all this together and you understand it, you should be creating a very simple system, which is, in reality, is its own creation, where your coil, your operation of your ganses will lead to the creation of the hydrogen, which leads to creation of both gravitational and magnetic fields. But how do you do it? What is the next step to do it? How much of what strength in the emotion of the man is dependent on the structure of the brain, which is mainly to do with the nitrogen, oxygen, carbon and hydrogen, and partially to do with zinc. Due to gravitational magnetic field of the zinc being near to the physical partner side, which is copper, which again itself is connected to amino acid or Mr. Coin. The interface and proximity of the strength between these two has connected the emotional part of the man to his physical part. And if you understand this, in the structure of the reactors you build, you have to come up with a newer structure for your reactors, which the coating which is devised can give you the interaction of the emotional part with the physical part. Where in creating the newer structure, you can have every single 1, 2, and 3 in it, that in interaction you achieve this, that through your thoughts you can create physical motion on the physical structure of the body of the system. Where in reality you can expand the knowledge in how, by connecting to different elements, you decide which part of the physicality come into operation and how you control everyone through the interaction of your amino acids. Let's go deeper in this. We save it because we might come back to it. We call it emotion. Let's look at something new. Let's look at the different structure now that we've seen the interaction of the three. Let's go back to the coils. These are your coils you created. And nowadays we do it in 2 different ways. What is entailed in the coil? In the coil, what we do is nano technology, which itself is shaped by molecular structure. We allow the nanotechnology to be released to become a GANs, or what we call state of the plasma. This is how beautiful this technology is built on. Step by step, we have come through it over past 2-3 years. Now, you have the coil. Inside the coil, you have the copper. This is your molecular structure. This is your holding glue. Then you nano-coated it, you achieve your nanomaterial. Now, this is the loose bound. Then you create a condition to create GANs, which is your non-dimensional, and through it you brought the energy of the plasma out. So what does it mean? You use the copper to structure it. You created a nanomaterial to coat it. Then you put on top the GANs. So if you look inside, you have created your own core. But don't forget, it goes back to the hydrogen. It goes back to understanding of the creation of hydrogen, and you can control the source. So what does this mean? If for those of you who haven't understood, we can go a step further. This is, we take one loop of your loops. That's another loop up, that's another loop down. The black is your copper. Nano-coated. Inside it, there is a copper matter state which is irrelevant. On top of it, you have put the GaNs material. You can put another GaNs material on top of the GaNs material. You can put another layer of GaNs material if you like. So what happens now? If you create the right flow in the layers of nanomaterial, due to the interaction of the fields, you will create rotation in all layers. You don't need a motor. This is how rotation in the universe is created. And if you manage to choose the right ganses on different layers, you will end up with a plasma of the GaNs of hydrogen in the center. Or we call it a free fundamental plasma of what we call neutron. And then, if you understood this, and you can control your plasma strength, then would you like to see which part of the emotion of the man to be controlled through the interaction of the plasmas and by thoughts and not by physicality? Where this is the original, the Iranian nuclear reactors possibilities, where this comes with the core section which we did in the Sensano, and in so many ways now the structure of the core. Now you've seen how 2 years of teaching has brought man to the verge of breakthrough in the world of science of space. And if you interact it properly, if you construct it properly, every single one of these layers you can control, at least to start with. Let's see what it could be. If we choose the black one to be copper oxide, maybe we allow another layer of copper, CuO, to join us. Maybe we choose this to be CO2, and maybe choose the blue to be CH3. Look at the choice, understand the choice, just don't copy it. Look why we have chosen this element. Look. Understand why from the beginning we kept on emphasizing on the 3 elements of the gas. One is the casing, one is the separation of the material to do with the structure, and one is the energy supply. But if you look, they're all connected one way or another to each other. The structure stays solid, the motion stays under control, and with the physicality of the copper, at least for the time being, you can do whatever you like. You can create energies and release energies from this boundary of happiness, joy, reversing cancer, fear, even reproduction. Because all you need to do, you add a layer here which carries zinc. Then you have full control of the emotion of the man. Zinc oxide. Or you can put it there which is closer to the copper, but you still need that emotion link between the two. So now that you understood and you start understanding the total structure, it is important to understand why you've been doing it, how you've been doing things, and in so many ways brings order to 2 years of teaching. A number of you, if you go back, restructure the way you made your cores and coils and your original systems, and restructure yourself, restructure the materials you made, re-nano coat but do a perfect job, you're all ready to take off. The race is now who's going to be the first. The race now is who is going to open the space technology collectively as a team of scientists, individually can be achieved too, which a couple of people have achieved it. Learn from the structure of the planet Earth. The structure of this planet teaches you a lot. But as being so materialistic, we have not seen it. Understand why you have liquid some places and you have solid one places. Understand why you have gases while you have the liquid. Understand how the interaction of the plasmatic field from the center dictates the motion of the liquid and the solid. It's not random anymore. Because if you understood this, if you understand the totality, for example, exactly what the Earth does, on this side of your reactor, you can create banana. Physical banana. You see the physical Earth. This is where in the given condition, banana in certain condition, strength field is created. While you can control this side and make yourself physical bread. If the planet has managed to create what you call the solid surface of it, and in that solid surface through a given interaction has created a banana, now you have the knowledge. Not all the parts of your plasma in the center of your coils and the cores which you have created has to be in the plasma state. You would like to have chips in certain point. You don't even need to fry it because you can create the emotion, the feeling and the texture of it without even producing the material. If you can create the energy which by frying certain temperature, creating molecular structure, gives you the emotion of feels. You all done it. You created the orange in the cup and you drank the cup and you say it tastes of orange. And Alex gets drunk with it from another thing. Is no difference. Now bring all the knowledge together. The race of space takeoff is in your hand from now on. But we're going to open a new door, which I was leaving it to the Space Innovation Center to do it. But we cannot go handicap and we promise we keep the doors open. Today, I show you the first blueprint of the space reactor. We did not announce it and we were not going to announce it. But now the technologies on the table is for you to see who can achieve and which organization will show the first lift and motion. Renan, are you in the background? Wernie, are you in the background?
Yes, sir. I'm here in the background, sir.
Is Wernie available?
He's coming back again, sir. He was just recently disconnected. He's coming in.
Ali, are you happy to release the information? Is Ali in the background? Ali? Do we have Jackie from the space section on? From Switzerland? Is Ali with us? It's afternoon, Tuesday afternoon. It should be early time of morning for him, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, I'm there.
Who's that?
It's Jackie.
Okay, Jackie. So it's okay with you on your side, from the space side. We'll go and show the first blueprint of the first space system.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
No problem. Okay. Bernie, can we have the design, please? You have. Is Bernie back online?
No, I'm looking in the panelists here. I don't see him, and I don't see him in the viewers yet either. Renan, can you let us know when he's back in?
Yeah, yes, I'm calling him in the cell phone.
Do you have access to the pictures, Renan?
I have one.
Which one do you have, Jackie?
The with the coils, the different coils.
The new
and both.
coil setup.
Yeah.
The one.
The picture of Rennie.
Okay. Can you release it, please? Can you share a screen? I step down. You step up, please.
1 second. I opened.
Make sure we do not see your screen.
Yeah. 1 second. 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna speak when you're ready. You come on board. You show it. If Verne is available, we need Verne because he can scientifically explain it in his way. Because Verne and I have been developed this around September, October last year, and it's been sitting there till the time is right. What we're going to show to you is the first open structure system which carries both gravitational magnetic field, shielding, and gravitational, and a control system for a minimum and a maximum, where you can create all the emotions of the man in space if you understand how to code, how to use and create a plasma. So today, in fact, is your blueprint for a space technology. The space reactors is not something you've seen before, but in so many ways we showed the beginning of this on the literally closing day of the what I call the summer session in Valletta, where we showed literally a Gantt state of it, which Marco created, and we put it on the table and we showed it. But what you see is prelude to what we've done, and today you can put this as a blueprint for the first spaceship structure reactor. You can manipulate it with different stacks of the reactor, or you can use it as a single individuals, the positioning of it to create both shielding and gravitational, create every level of emotion and food texture and medicine for man in space. What you see is the ultimate structure design, and it's for you as collective scientists to develop it and deliver it.
I can show you the picture if you want.
Can you go ahead, please? You are from the space site. Ali is not available. You can go ahead.
Mr. Keshe, Ali will come online shortly.
So, do you want to wait for him or do we go?
He said he'll be on in a second.
I think we've already gone, anyways.
Pardon?
I think we're already gone. The pictures are already. Let's discuss it.
Is Bernie in the background?
I have a different picture if you want to more bigger one.
Join us. Share knowledge. This is what is being shared with the Space Innovation Group. We explain it step by step with you, and now it's you lot to race for the takeoff. I will go into detail. We have realized the knowledge was getting leaked somewhere, somehow, and it was in the hand of a couple of space agencies which are hacking into our system. We had two choices: to share the knowledge rapidly with you, or leave a couple of nations to go into mayhem of developing it. So now we put it on the table. Every single one of you, if you understand this structure, should be able to understand the totality. Do you have another picture?
Hi, Mr. Keshe. This is Ali.
Hi, Ali. Sorry to wake you up.
No problem.
But you had the innovation on the space side. It's your baby, so we keep respecting according to what it is there.
Thank you.
And we said we are going to show a space reactor and people who can take off and do whatever they like. Is Vernie in the background? Has he woken up yet, or is he about?
Not yet, sir. Not yet, sir.
Ali, you have
Okay.
better picture. You can start sharing if you want.
I got 2 pictures. Yeah, sure, I can.
Okay, share with us, and then we go in more detail.
Okay, hold on.
Let us see. Well, we don't want to see your screen. So this is the blueprint for a space technology, for a space lift. You have to organize it. You have to feed it. Originally, we showed this as the balls of the GANs in the closing of the Keshe Space Institute for summer by Marco. And now you see a working unit is for you to push it and develop it and finish it. I reckon within next few days or weeks, someone of you will achieve if you understood all the teachings of today and the past. What does it mean? We go through the structure step by step. I need you to do it, that I can go in it. Okay, we need you to close on the side. That's perfect picture. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If you look, I'm gonna write and then you have to, because you are in control, you have to do it. As I said, we gave the technology to people, and in that process, governments sitting on the Keshe Foundation been downloading all this information which is kept in the secure touch conference or calls. And so what happened, in them having access to it, we have to share it, that now, as we said, one race, one nation, one planet, all of us do it together. The Russian Space Agency, the Chinese, the Americans, and the rest. Look at the structure. This structure is very important and the location is going to be changed. What I'm going to do, I'm going to call this number 1. I'm going to call this number 2. We're going to call this number 3. The ring A is your magnetical, which creates your shielding. The ring B is your gravitational, which clearly creates and holds to the gravity if you want to increase or reduce. You have to move for the purpose of the lift. You have to move in so many ways. Number 3 to this position. Number 2 to this position. And then number 1 to this position. Your top core is here with number 4. This is your number 4. This is the top of the stack. These cores are the spinal cord. So for the first time, you don't have a coil on its own, and you don't have a core on its own, and the coating, the way you do, will dictate how you create what you create in the center as a plasma of neutron. The 2 rings, which we call here ring, what we call 1 and 2, these are controllers of 1, fixing the magnetical strength, 2, fixing the gravitational strength. That the body of the man can exist within these 2 boundaries, that you never in a way lose the structure of the man, be it emotional or physical. But you can control the lift, direction of motion. And one of the first things, as I explained to a lot of what we discussed in the private teaching, is that you will find these coils will start rotating in a very funny way without you even doing anything. So if you look at the structure, and if you remember your coil combination, this is your core number 1, 2, and 3, and this is your core number 4. As I said, we had to release this information today or by Thursday because number of security services were sitting in the background with our teaching. So the technology was becoming exclusive. Who can make the first lift and whatever to dominate? Now nobody dominates. This is the true blueprint of your spaceship. Is Wernie in the background? Has he arrived yet?
I don't see him in the participants yet.
Renan, can you get in touch with him? Can you raise him anywhere? Because most of these pictures, these are real coils made in September last year. We were ready to show flight system 4 or 5 months ago, but the position and the condition was not ready. Now it is ready, now we can explain, and a lot of you should be able to target for lift if you understand the coating and everything else. What in fact happens is the 3 base will create exact shape as we said. And this will make you the bottom of your space and the top will do. A lot of you have seen these coils, what I call the coils on A and B, especially on A, you have seen these. You have seen their operation. When you come into the flight condition system, if you have seen in a space where you see a flashing light continuously rotating in what you call the spaceship, comes from these reactors. They float and they space themselves in a constant position from each other and they rotate. That's why you see in what we call spaceships a rotating light continuously going around the spaceship. Now you see the mother of the source. In this combination of reactors, you can create any gravitational magnetic field you like, and so you can create any matter you like. Because now you can dictate the gravitational field and you can dictate the magnetical. Or you can add into the magnetical and gravitational what you like. So creation of matter in space become very simple. You have to understand a simple structure. Oh, sorry, I'm teaching. Can you call back later? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
That's no problem. So you understand the structure. Now with this, you can produce materials because you dictate the minimum gravitational and maximum magnetical. the shielding for your space. You can create a condition with different coating on your nanomaterials by the GANs that you can create multi-shielding. So you can dictate your position from, and you can dictate your protection from. This is the blueprint for the first spaceship technology. These, what you look as coils. Is Arman online? He's arrived in the United States this morning.
Yes,
Arman, are you online?
yes, yes, Mr.
Arman, you build these coils. Can you show it to us? But don't forget that these coils are double winded. They have a magnetical and gravitational coil on top of each other. It's not a single coil. Have you got this video, or is it Verni?
I don't have it with me, Mr. Keshe.
We cannot show it. We have to wait till when it comes, or we go over this again on Thursday morning teaching.
I made another coil, but it has a triple version. I can show you that one. It might be easier
If you could go, please. You can share a screen,
Okay.
please. Chat.
Okay, let me clear the drawings if we can. Okay. And then we go here.
We don't need to see your desktop.
So,
we see all your programs.
no, there's no. So this is a triple core that I made today. It has one inside and two outside, but the other design has only two. And since we
Why
opened
have
it,
you made three?
because I felt that there is one missing. I had to add another one, and it's alive, like it has a consciousness. And there's like one neutron, one like there's one positive, one male, one female, and one is neither male or female. One is balanced in the middle. But the interaction of all three will create it's like in human Merkaba, you got actually two tetrahedrons and one is in the middle, which doesn't move. So I was trying to replicate the human energetic field. These are cut at a specific length. The inner coil has is a sacred cubit length, which is the ancient Egyptian length. The Egyptians built all the pyramids in Giza and in sacred sites based on the sacred cubit. That's why the pyramids are the most ancient structures on the planet, and they are the most stable, and they have been here for thousands and thousands of years. So if you have a wire, let me annotate here. So if you have a wire, make sure you cut it by the inner coil. I did it by 20.6 inches. Then you get the middle one. It has to be a multiplication of this number. And the inner one is 20.6 by 1.5. So you multiply that. And the last one, the bigger one in the outer, is 20.6 inch multiplied by 2. And so each, like this coil, there is within it has a star formation, everything inside, because the interaction of the coil outside and the inner coil, and there's another coil inside, and you got the element, the hydrogen inside. All three create an infinite kind of a star formation. and there's millions and millions of these at the atomic level present in the coils. Interestingly, when you create the structure, it has a consciousness of its own, so it will begin communicating with you, and you'll understand it at a really deep level. These are like tuning forks of the universe. So when you cut, let's say, a coil at this specific length, it's like a tuning fork, and it resonates at a specific frequency. And that's why when you have, like, let's say, pyramids like this, and every block of the pyramid, let's put another one here, all the lengths are the all these lengths are the multiplication of the 20.6, or the sacred cubit length, which in ancient Egypt they had they have these rods that are in the museums, and they're exactly cut as this, and they use it for, different applications, for their building, or any artifacts or stuff like that. It was really, really important. And this resonates at the frequency of light. If you cut a wire at this length, and it's at 144,000 hertz.
Let me stop you there.
Okay.
There's a reason, and I'll explain something. If you go back to the original reactors which were built and further developed in Belgium and in Iran, we have kept to this figure at 21 centimeter, just below 21 centimeter is the ratio. If you go back in most of the teaching, is 21 centimeter is the distance of the travel of the alpha radiation to full decay of the energy deliverance. That's why we use alpha radiation in our reactors. So the point of 20.6, or what we call 21 centimeter, has been always kept to in the design of all the initial reactors. So it does not necessarily need to be inches, it's the ratio that is kept in all processes. 20.6 centimeters is the same, 20.6 millimeter is the same, and this is, we round figure of about 21 centimeter has been kept. So you can see what you're trying to explain and what we have used without explaining it, and now comes to in light. And it's been, even is one of the patents has about 21 centimeter. And in one of the original papers, we explained this very simply. So it's not necessarily to be in inches, but is the ratio of when something is kept as its own, which is about 21 centimeter.
Yeah, it's either multiplication or divisions of that ratio, which is,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't need to be inches, you will get the same results, and this is how we have kept in most of the designs, which all the original reactors has been kept to. Carry on.
Yeah, so this is, if you have three wires, one would, basically you'll get the same thing, but you can actually, like, my goal is to make the system as simple as possible, and condense everything into even one, one small reactor, if done correctly, can achieve the same thing. So, and I was wondering, what is your thought on the triple core, Mr. Keshe, as well?
The point is not triple or double. You can do the same thing with a single coil, where the coating, the GaNs coating, will give you the same. go back into most of the teaching. We explained that the physical structure of the copper is to be able to manipulate the shape of the GANs or the plasma. So you can do the same thing with a single core or a double core or a triple core. But now that we got to the stage of ultimate lift and creation of the structure, we have to understand there needs to be more precision in development. Needs to be more precision in structure of the coils. Cannot be random so much. And somebody asked what is the green and blue? That's 20.6 times 1.5, 20.6 times 2 is the outer core. The inside is 20.6, so one is 1.5 of it and the other one is the double. And if you structure it the right way, a lot can be explained. Carry on. If when you finish, let me know. We add to the knowledge which we are teaching in the background, please.
Okay.
Carry on.
So let me clear this and go back to the main structure here. And did we talk about the hydrogen process that the hydrogen has to go in?
Yes. Sorry you were asleep.
No, that's okay. Okay, so you covered a lot of things. Unless you want me to add any like new teachings from my last week teaching, you can carry on, because I think you have covered a lot of the grounds, and we have to make sure you got to put amino acids here. Amino acids, the one that you get from the top of the seawater. These two should have it, because that would help
Not
you.
sea water, other CO2 water.
From
Make
the
sure
sea.
the number of courses. Let me add, because you've gone that way, you've got to add something to the knowledge. First of all, for building these cores, please use fire method. It is important that we understand. Please use fire method, not caustic method, to create nanomaterials on all your rings, all your nanomaterials. Even you see here tubes, plastics tubes, these are all nano-coated, that we have no matter state. The use of the amino acid on the coils is essential, because that gives the minimum maximum gravitational field of your system, which means amino acid is what is the body of the man needs, and it cannot go below it to destroy it or above it to dissolve it. There is something which is important, and in the teachings I have raised, and now we can add to the knowledge, is that if you look at this core here, and if you look at this coil here, you will understand to you, or it looks like to you, that in so many ways the fields are leaving on this way, and the fields should enter this way. And as you see this, I presume your thinking is the same way, that the fields, for example, are coming out of this way, and the fields are going in this way. In fact, this is totally wrong. I read you what I wrote to the Innovation Center with the Space Center sometime this week. If I can find it, I'll read it for you, because now it's important for everybody to understand this. In this part, you can record it, but listen to it, and then if I can bring it up, God knows where it is. There's too much discussion going on here in the background. We try to bring it in. I'll read it for you because it's easier to read it. It's one of the part of the teaching. It reads as follows. I think we can add to the knowledge. If you look at the GANs is and behaves and operates like a plasma in matter state strength, but it behaves as crystal in its own dimension. Nanomaterials are matter state of the element, and GANs is the crystal or graphene of the same in latter state. Just before nano layer is becoming GANs first, it becomes graphene or its own crystal structure and stays in that state, and in the new free GANs state in and become crystal in the new environment. GANs is the fifth state of matter of interaction and operation in the fifth state. You may now understand where the man is led to by our teachings. The state of self inner peace, blessed, and it goes on. I teach you, there is another part of teaching which I cannot find it, which is important in regarding about the plasma. And in a way, what we explain is that in the plasma state, a lot of you consider, as I've drawn, the flow of the plasma in one pole to another. But in fact, the flow of the plasma is in all directions, in and out. What does this mean? Is that you have assumed that fields go out, as are shown in the green, and come in the red. In reality, is that in all directions, fields go in and out, and in the strength of the environment, which decides the polarity. It's not that the Earth continuously receives from the South Pole and releases only. The same fields enter and exit from South Pole and every other points on this planet. Otherwise, you would have been heavier at the bottom and lighter on the top. And this is not so. So I'll read you another piece which has gone to the spaceship team. It says, I think it is better to connect all 12 cores together in the boundary and the 6 in gravitational unit. You get control of your system. Note that even these 18 cores look as being having their entry and exit to be on horizontal level to the main star formation. In fact, they are still bottom to top field flow entities as the star formation set. This is important to remember as I teach you something totally new, and this is going to blow your minds out. I hope you are ready for this, and this will cause a number of you to go into total confusion. The real truth is that no one has ever told you in the world of plasma is that as much field enters each pole as they exit. We have no entry and exit, but we have both entry and exit from both, and in fact from all over places of any plasma, even Earth. This should now solve the problem why man has never understood the work of the plasma. Now, if you understand this, you should understand is you who decides that which side or end become the more entry or exit. As I said, little comment says, oh guys, now you're in trouble. Or on the other hand, now you understand why mankind has been so behind in the work of the universe. This is very important. This is absolutely vital, because what happened, any of these reactors, as they are rotating, you think, they become pole revolutionized. So even the cores look to be moving in this direction. In fact, their field is in this direction. And in setting up a system, you will understand your cores can change, field strength change, so the game changes. One thing which is important you will understand, you've got to follow, is that your what we call 1, 2, and 3, they will be sitting on the base of the setup, and number 4, which is here, moves up. Your ring core here has to be just below, just below here, and your magnetical has to be here. We are looking at the height position. If you look at it, you have 3, if I can do like 3 reactors. Your gravitational system, your gravitational ring, your gravitational ring should be sitting here. And your magnetical ring should be sitting somewhere here. And your core number 4 should be somewhere just here, where the gravitational field feeds into and the magnetical feed into, and the system closes itself as what you see spaceship. This is the full design blueprint for any space reactor system which you want to try. Don't forget, these coils like 1, 2, or 3 can be in a stacker condition as you created. You don't need to throw anything away. But understand the position, where they have to be positioned. You keep your gravitational ring within the structure of the cores, you keep your magnetical outside. Because you control the magnetical here, and you control the gravitational here. This combination gives you every element which man needs to create in space. And then, as I said, you decide, on this side I want aluminium, and this side I want plutonium. On this side, which is lighter, I would like hydrogen here. Or I want gold there. Because it's at the boundaries which you can create most of your thing. If you want to look at it, I'll show you something very interesting. This can make, if you know how to do it, let's say the structure that on these places you have solid, and you can create the solid you want, and in these parts you create liquids. If you see it, is the structure of the Earth. Minimum and maximum. Then you decide what hydrogens and gases you want to create here. To continue the operation of the amino acid. It's the structure of the planet Earth. As I said, we wanted to keep this till we show you a full flight. The innovation team and the space team were put together this week to achieve this flight's probation. This is more or less the ultimate till you find out how you can control the system with your thoughts. But as we were informed by our security people, a couple of national governments sitting in the background, they thought they got the clue, they start running, so we all run together. This would have been released maybe in a month or 2, but once we start explaining it, disclosing it, those are who are very sitting inside the foundation, received the information and is not correct. So we all have it now. This is, you have to lift the whole structure up 3 base, and then you can expand anything up to 200 to 300 meter diameter with this system. Control is in your hand, and in a way, if you look at it, if I can get it, can you clean up the structure behind? I'll show you what happens. You have the 3 fields here and the fields here. Okay, you have these 3 fields here and the fields here. This gives you the tangibility of your surface of your crafts at the bottom. And the other one is you have the top and you have the others. You have in this structure a section which is from the interaction of the fields of totality, somewhere here, which is the emotion and control part of the whole spaceship. And this is where you sit your, what I call, pilots. If you understand and if you can connect, follow the procedure explained in a specific way, someone of you should be able to show a full controlling flight system. Should take you not more than a few days, maybe a week, 2 weeks. But now this is more important. This is your flight system. Control and everything else. We showed originally this part, this was shown months ago, because I knew sooner or later we'll come to this point to do the flight. Marco built this, but instead of the coils, he used the cores with the GANs inside. You've seen the rings. These are the control system. In your system on the flat, you can decide which you want and what material you want to create. And in so many ways, using the combination of the 2, if you look at it, all 3, in any shape or form, you can dictate the direction of your flight. Man is ready to take into space. There is no reason not to be able, but you always remember you have to connect your bases and your center. You have to develop energy resources which is continuous, and in so many ways you can use what I call a GANS material as your reserve tank here in the middle. In totality, this is your blueprint. In totality, we can close all the teachings today and wait till one of you will come up and show up, or one of the governmental space technology centers will deliver the technology. The system is complete. You have to develop different versions of it. If you look here, you don't have a solid body anymore. The springs should be open enough that it's transparent system that the fields can dictate their own condition and position. You do not need to use a plastic the way it's done here. You can still use the spring coils. Or if you can create a nice balance, you can connect the gravitational one end to another and magnetical of the other. So it creates a field flow. You have a very basic fundamental transportation to space. We'll go through this again on Thursday because we have more people that they come in, will extend by it. You can create the fields here that you work on the emotion, strength of the man, and you can work to keep your passengers always happy that the time is relevant. Because even the time, in essence of man, is magnetic field strength dependent. It doesn't exist. We have a measure of strength in our brains. I slept 3 hours. It's past 10 minutes. So if we can measure minutes, it means we have created in our subconscious, in our strength level of the emotion part of the body of the man, a measuring tools in respect to all the emotions, and then that is what we need to satisfy. So if we satisfy, universe is timeless. Any questions?
How are the coils connected?
You decide.
So they don't need to be connected at all?
If you can create a field and you can hold them on, they don't fly off. Not really, but in a way you have to.
Okay, and how many turns to the big?
We are not going into these. We are not going into these. You decide yourself.
Okay.
We are not going into the games of the past. We learn very well. The left hand, right hand, how many turns? You build according to what you feel. Ali told you, he feels he wanted to put a third one in. Try.
Sounds good.
You're welcome.
I wish I can talk.
Any other?
I wish I can talk and share.
Who's that on the background?
Me? Oh, can you hear me?
Who's that?
Kosal?
Kosal had his microphone
Yes,
open.
as long as you teach us something correct, I'll let you stay online.
Yes, I want to share something important.
Let me explain to you.
Yes, sir.
It has to be connected to our teaching and it has to make sense.
Yes, it is connected.
Okay.
Very much. But I have to show it. I can't explain it. That's why I need your help, because it is surprising to me. Can I show it, sir?
I think Ali is sharing. He has to come
I
off.
can stop it now. Sure, I'll stop my sharing and.
Yeah, I can't even mute my system. Somehow I've lost the mute. I cannot control anything here. Oh yeah, it's okay now. Back. Okay, you can share.
Okay. How do I share video? Okay. You can't start
Okay,
your
just,
video because the host stopped it.
Okay, just a second. We'll get that sorted out here.
Start my video.
There you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Just
Hi, Mr.
there we go. You're sideways. Your picture's sideways.
Like this?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. I discovered something. It's like, that's why I need your help to explain. This is my system is the Maggraph Plasma Cube, and it's wireless. I supposed to connect the wire in series parallel, but then I found out it started to produce energy, plasmatic electricity, and it start connecting to each other without any wire connection. I only connected to the gravitational coil, and gravitational and magnet coil to how should I say this? Just this one only. See, so and then this the magnetic to this side, but it's not connecting to anything else. But it's already working and it's already communicating with me. And I can put a voltmeter or something, and then it will show electrical energy and amps. See, there is no look. You can see closely. Everything I learned is from you. How I fold everything, and this is the Alex battery capacitor plasma put into a ring. This is my hot glue to hold it, but there is no connection to each other physically, but they are connected to each other in it's a complete circuit. but there is for plasma wise, but physically there's not a complete circuit. And it's working already. It's two of them, and they you can feel the feel. It's and it has different personality, and this is the part that go with it. You see, sir? Everything is looped into each other.
You see, when you create a plasmatic battery capacitor, you already have created an energy source. So it's not that there is no energy with nothing else. You have a plasma battery which is loading or working through the system. It's you who's got to decide, or you can absorb how much energy you release or you get from it. It's important to understand something very, very important. I explained this to in the communication recently, past couple of days with somebody. When you measure a voltage of, let's say, half a volt up and down, plus or minus, that's in the electron vibration. It's literally at the waist end, the slowest part. So in fact, you're creating a massive plasmatic energy that when it comes to the matter state, the fragments at the bottom of it, you can still measure voltage and current in it. So when you put these plasma batteries together, when you put these plasma GaNs batteries capacitors, you have created the energy source, a plasmatic energy source. And so you can't say that it's not there. And because you created the coil, inside the coil in the center, you have created the plasma, and this plasma communicates with other plasma. Is understanding what you're doing, and then you see how you can manipulate, use it for the other things. In the Ganser state of the matter, you can do the same. You can decide as a resources in the center of the system where to put a source, a GaN source, as an energy source. Or in a coming time, I teach you something else. Could you stop your system, please? Could you stop sharing?
Stopping now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How do I
So
stop
what
now?
is it?
Okay.
So one thing which was gonna go to expand on is that you have to nano code everything which is in there. If the platform, you use a platform, somewhere between the 3 base and the top and your gravitational and magnetical ring, or whatever way you put it, this somewhere here you need the energy resource. This is where you can absorb a lot of energy and hold on. Or you can put a nano coated tube, or a ball I should say, where you fill up with a mixture of gases. You put CO2, CH3, whatever you have here, you store it here in a ball. You do not need to connect it to nothing. You don't need to connect it to anything at all. But when your coils or when your core need, they connect to as they need it. It's very much like a liver in a human body. On the other hand, in a space, you can create a zone where fields from the space of the universe can come in and you can store it. What they call free plasma zones. If in part of a space you don't have a given energy for amino acid strength, plasma is already in here, it's stored. Does not need connection.
So it's self-sufficient, sir?
More or less at this moment of time, yes.
Oh wow. And the plasma
Then
electricity? So we call it
pardon?
plasmatic electricity, sir? We don't call it
Is a
electromagnetic.
plasmatic current, no electricity. It's a current flow between the plasmas and gravitational and magnetic.
So
If
it's
you
real.
want to go, Yes, it's a transformation without connection. So you can do this, but you got to realize again, make sure your container is nano coated on both sides, that your GANs is in a floating condition and it can give and take above your container.
Oh, thank you so much, sir, for enlightenment, because I was surprised. I was planning to connect it Siri pair little, but then I saw it to work and I said, I need Mr. Cash to enlighten me. And thank you, sir, for your enlightenment. So can other do this too, or just only me doing it?
No, no, nothing is for you. Nothing here is exclusive. It's the knowledge that people need to carry with them. And in a bigger sense, if you even understood the double coil where you create a plasma, you don't even need a container. You can make a containment that you can hold on to the energy plasmatic condition for any levels of the use in space.
And
So
it also communicate. They all have this two box is the same design, but they have different
everything,
personality.
you see, is not matter of communication. The matter is you have a box with a coil which has created the plasma, and you have another box which you have put the power in it. So these two create their own fields. Communicate. You can take this one to the others or make another one on the other side of the earth. If you have it, they connect to each other. It's not that they communicate.
Zero communic. What you told me last time? Zero space or zero time something?
It
Communication.
is instantaneous. It's an instantaneous connection. You'll find out when you have your 12 coils. This is how they will start. This is how they will balance each other.
Like a a neural network, a plasma neural network.
More or less.
Okay, like the planet around the sun. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Any other question?
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightenment. You are such a blessing.
Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Pardon?
This is Miguel Moreno. Can you hear me?
Yes, but you got to speak a little bit louder.
Yeah. I want to talk with the topic about the cube. I am working with nanocoating the coils. Maybe I'm gonna have a running the cube in maybe 2 weeks. Can I share about what I'm making?
If it is related to today's teaching, yes.
Yeah. Hold on.
I'll gotta stop sharing. Yes.
Okay. Let me check it out.
It says your network bandwidth is low.
Okay.
I think that's yours, Mr. Cash.
Is it? Oh my God. Can you share with us what you're trying to show us?
Yeah, yeah.
Your video's on, Miguel. Maybe it's the wrong video.
Yeah, then I can.
We see you on the camera.
Okay, let me move the camera. Okay. So this is part of the cube that I am making.
I think you have to change your sound to the microphone is on your laptop.
No, the microphone is already in the micro device.
Then you need to turn up the audio settings, perhaps in the Zoom preferences.
Okay.
And you can share your screen as well, because it would be better than sharing through the video.
Yeah, let me try then. Hold on.
While Miguel is trying to explain to us, we go back on the teachings. You're a Spanish group. You have a large number of Spanish. Can you please get together and organize a teaching program for the Spanish community? It can be on a 9 to 5 basis, or you can do it 3 hours or 6 hours a week that we can learn and you can teach to the Spanish community. We need Spanish speaking teachers who understood the technology, that they can come in and start a teaching of the Spanish community on a 9 to 5 basis, the same as what we do in the English and the Chinese versions and the Italians.
Okay,
For
so
those Italians who listen, I have to inform you that Giovanni has brought in a highly competent scientist, doctors and professors, to be as part of your teaching classes when it starts in March. So when you go on Thursday to enroll, you pick up the Italian session. All the teachings are in total Italian. So everything will be taught absolutely in Italian language, unless somebody comes in and asks for a translation for something in the middle, that it should be able to be done. We see something. Can you explain to us, please?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm having problem with the computer. So sorry.
Do you want to set it up together and come back on Thursday?
Okay, I will do it.
Okay, do it properly. It looks you've done a very nice job. At least let's do it properly, that we appreciate your work.
Okay.
So we'll see you on Thursday morning.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Just try to make it like a PDF file that you can put it together and you can explain to us and we follow you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. Any other question? You have to stop sharing that we can take charge. Can you go and stop sharing, please?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions?
well,
Depends what you want to do with it. The freedom is yours. You decide what you want to do.
I have a question.
Who was that? Someone speaking?
Yes, I had a quick question. Someone donated, I've been trying to get wire. Someone donated wire to me, but it turned out to be copper coated steel. Can I use it for anything, pens or any of the devices?
Maybe yes. If you want to make blood, why not? You can connect it directly, run it for a while till the CO2 is built, and then connect it to when it gets to the wire end. If you use a zinc oxide on it, when it gets to the wire end, then you start creating a very reddish material, which is a hemoglobin. And then yes, it's the easy way, it's a fantastic way actually to produce hemoglobin.
Can I twist it like for health pens, you're saying, or use it for GANs?
You can use it both. It depends what you want to do with it. You decide. It's
Okay.
nothing. It just depends how you manipulate it or what condition you, what environment.
Oh my.
Sorry, we had
Hello.
to mute everyone there.
Oh, we
Okay, we
got
can hear you,
unmuted.
Mr. Keshe. Go ahead.
Yes, I can hear. I just noticed. Yeah. All depends what you want to do with it and how you can manipulate or create an environment for it to get what you need.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Keshe?
Pardon, yes, Mr. Arman.
The
Thank you.
course,
You're welcome.
the course that spiral course. I just made one. If I can show.
Yes.
This one.
We need what? Okay, that's perfect.
Okay. So its diameter, it has to be 21. The bigger core, and inside it has to be 20.
What do you mean by that?
As Ali explained.
Yeah.
So the size, it has to be 21 diameter.
No, he speaks about the length of his wire when he changes it to a rotational unit or to a core. But originally, the 21 is it's a very important figure in the field of the radiation and atomic structure transfer of energy as radiation. It has a huge significance in the world of nuclear technology.
Okay.
It's the distance which certain radiations can be effective according to the medium they're traveling into, and it's more or less the backbone of the development of the space reactors. 21 centimeter. If you remember, always we make the
Yes.
reactors 21, 22 centimeter, and that's for that reason.
Okay, but one more thing. Do we have to leave extra wire on top, or we just have to cut it? Because inside, when you
can do
insert,
what you like with it. You can do what you like with it. You can, because then it has to have a point of entry and exit. We've seen that Ali has used 3 to bring emotion into it, but you can't do it without it. Depends on the layers of the material you use. You can do with 1 coil, but coat it in a way that it gives you the 3 layers.
okay, coated with the GANs, actually.
Different ganses, yeah.
Okay,
If
thank
you
you.
work the right way and coat it the right way, your single coils should be able to give you the physicality anyway to start with.
A question for Armin, because you worked on these coils before. What is the best way to basically turn them around so everything is uniform? And
Before we go any further, is Jeff DuPont online in the back? Armanjan, can you wait 1 second, please? Is Jeff DuPont on the line? Can we see him anywhere? Can you promote him if he's anywhere?
Looking here, Mr. Keshe.
No, but the reason I ask you, is he there?
Not seeing him.
No. So maybe he'll be there on Thursday. Jeff has released a system for manufacturing coils, different kind of coils, and nano coating it at the same time with the gas. I wondered, we should remember to ask him, or somebody can ask him in the background if they're in touch with him. Can he make the spiral, flat spiral, that it can open up to, as we see, a spherical spiral system? Is that in part of the program he's developed, that we can produce a flatter spirals? Okay, carry on, Marvin. This is what we wanted to know. As you know, you can now buy the Mishko. You can go to the Keshe Foundation website. I think we've received the initial order for it. Initial orders, I don't know. I've received the note that they've received our order. You can actually buy a coil making machine manufactured in Canada by Jeffrey Pond. And for those of you who want to know, it takes about a couple of weeks for him to produce this unit before it's shipped. So the unit is on sale on the Keshe Foundation website. Carry on, Arman. Show us how you do it, please.
Yeah, 1 minute. If you can carry on, I will make it and I will show it, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, no problem. Is Renan still there, or is Vernie has joined us?
Sir, we already went to Vernie's house, and I think he's already asleep.
Oh, what's the time?
It's 11:30 p.m.
11:30 p.m. Ah, okay. Sweet dreams. We'll see him on Monday, on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Renan. These cores, as is going to be shown, is and will be initial stages, the backbone of the reactors for time being till we learn more, and then we go to another phase of plasma without boundaries. And you will understand that how the system will create these boundary reactors and the reactor themselves according to the field strength. But it gives the man the first step to create the first spaceship with a full control, the protection and gravitational. Is Marco online? Do you see Marco?
No, I don't see him here
see
either.
Marco.
No. Okay. Do you have a picture? Pardon?
Go ahead.
Do we see any pictures of the original one shown as a reserve tanks made by Marco in the last teachings, in one of the last teachings in, or the first teaching in Valletta? On the opening of the Valletta, we showed the initial unit of it as a plasma cores. Do you have access to it?
Rick, what knowledge seeker would that be?
Hmm.
Well, it's Richard.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to dig through some of the earlier pictures here. That's a ways back.
Richard made the original pictures. Richard should have them.
Richard?
Yeah, he was there. I need a letter.
That's what I'm asking. Richard, do you have those?
What pictures are you looking for?
Hello, Richard. You're awake? The picture
Barely.
of it's too late in Holland. Do you have the picture of the 12 orange ball, yellowish orange balls on the table? Is anybody in the center in
I will
Valletta?
check.
Is
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
lab?
so.
Pardon?
Yeah, I have those pictures. Just a sec.
Yeah, if there's anybody in the Valletta in the lab, they can bring it out and show it live.
I think Rick needs a new mouse pad.
Yes, I was just aware of that.
Is that what you're talking about, Mr. Cat? Did we lose Mr. Keshe?
I'm not hearing you, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, if you can hear me, I'm here.
Yeah.
This is the, yeah, I put myself on mute not to make noise in the background. This is the initial shape or system which was made by Marco. These are on electric fans in a way, what do you call it, computer cooling fan system. You see this very closely. So we have repeated the process again. This is the future version. This is the, in so many ways, if you can separate it and place it, if you look position wise, if I can go to this, I can show you. If you look, these are positioned to be in the same places that we discussed. This goes there, and this comes there, and these are filled in with the gases. Marco spent a long time to produce this. So we can go strengthening to produce any material we need, or creating and reducing gravitational to make isotopes and all kind of materials. This is the gravitational system control here. This is magnetical system control, the minimum and the maximum. In these gases, if Marco was here, would have told us what he filled in if he's remembering. You can connect any gravitational to any magnetical, or magnetical to any gravitational in the center. So this, which is what I was explaining, a number of people are on the verge and have developed a spacelift, but they are more or less about around the same. So this was on the table in more or less last year, and the last day or the closing of the Spaceship Institute for summer holiday. We've seen another version of it with Randon, which does away with the other balls, because now we create a free plasma section. And now you see we are on the same course. We are about, some people when they saw this structure in September, they start working on it, or in last, what do you call it, July. And those people have already achieved lift and the creation of the star formation. Some of you will grasp or have grasped the idea very quickly, but in these systems we had a blowout because the energy is so much that it literally blows itself up, the lines. You have to be very careful. There is no water contamination and the rest, but these can be done in a simple way. The balls will start rolling, or as you have the spiral cores. If you look at this and go back on the first pictures which were released earlier on, which was made with the Special Innovation Group, you see there is very much exactly the same. As I told you, I have taught you and I put it so in front that you don't understand it and you just ignore it. Now you see the flight system has been on display for nearly 8 months. And it took Marco at least 2 months to build this one, at least a month to build this. The knowledge is so open, so complete, it's for you to complete it yourself. And if you understood this and you can position this the right way, the right rotation, the right material input, the system will just create its own gravitational magnetic field. This white plastic here has to be nano-coated. The plastic underneath has to be nano-coated. And then they have to be free. You'll find out your reactors will find their own position, and then you see the flight. This is the green, what I call the blueprint reactor system control. And it's more or less for the nations and the governments, or individuals like a lot of you who are well rehearsed, understand the technology, to start showing the first lift system. You can use the stacker unit instead of the 5 bolts. You can use the structure which Ali is using. You can use understanding of the totality of everything together, and you'll achieve your lift and creation of space energy. I have given the innovation and spaces unit what I call a request that by mid-March we should be able to fly. So understand it, apply it correctly, remember the way you have to quote it. All of you, every single one of you will have a full flight system in hand. It has to be precise. Everything has to be very precise. It's not nitty-gritty anymore. We advise not to use caustic for coating. We advise heat transfer by burning, because then it's homogeneous. You have no other elements that when you decide. I advise you when you're producing, can I have my screen share, please? Share. When you are making your systems, when you are producing your nano coating, use fire only. When you're producing your CO2 GANs, do not put your plates inside. Create a system that you can put copper oxide, nano coated, and the zinc, that the GANs you produce here is a pure CO2. When you place your system, you want to produce zinc only, zinc nanoplate, you put your copper nano-coated here and the zinc inside. This is important. From now on, precision counts, and those of you who understand it will achieve it. When you're using copper oxide, make sure your copper oxide is of the specific at every time across your use of production. When you are using a system to produce protein, make sure your protein is created by this condition, not by zinc inside it. You only use a protein which is pure, and that is when you place the plate outside. To find this gap, to create this condition that you start getting GANs, is not very easy. One of the ways I've done before is I use a plastic bags, where I can thinner the bag, I can increase the bag, but I stick the nano coated and the zinc on the bag. So by changing the size, you bring the proximity closer or whatever, and then you suddenly see you produce a lot of CO2, and in some places you produce a lot of what I call amino acid. As I said, firing is the most important way to do it. Creating nanomaterial is the most important thing to do it. Those of you who you've been looking for a pure CO2, especially for health reasons, explore this. And it's so easy to make CO2. Do not use seawater. Under no circumstances, any of your trials, use seawater. Because you don't know what is the content of the seawater you're using. It has everything which is on this planet. Any other question?
Milena had a question regarding the pilot and something about flight that way.
Yes, I was about to ask actually. Thank you, Rick. Hi, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, hello.
Hi. Yes, I just want to say I'm very grateful for all the beautiful, mind-blowing shares today and all of this this technology and the blueprints. I was wondering if you could extrapolate a little bit more on the positioning of the pilot position and a little bit more about how we control from that position once we create this.
Once you created this, you have to understand, as we went into the process of explanation of the teaching, in the private teaching, I think you were in that course as well, or was it the other side, where I explained the different layers of the inner structure of the brain without the physicality. Rick, can we go into the picture of the cross section of the brain? You know which one I'm talking about, we use in that teaching? Okay, please.
Okay, so you're saying, so we sit, I'm kind of thinking a little bit more on the physical right now, but you said that you sit in front of it. Is that what you had said today? I missed that part when you were talking about that.
About what?
I missed when you said where you sit, the pilot position sits in front of it, or I'm just curious.
Oh, you got to sit in a given specific environment, which is the non-dimensional emotional part. We have spoken about this quite often. When you have a cell formation, you create a environment in certain given areas, which is what we call the free plasma. But in this free plasma is where the emotional part of the system interacts with everything else. So your pilot has to be in that environment. That's the seat of the pilot.
Okay, yeah.
Because then he can control in everything through thoughts and not through physical control. Physical control doesn't exist. It's too fast.
Okay, all right, got it. All right,
You have to understand something when we speak with a flight in these conditions. When you have a totality of these fields together, which gives the condition of the control of the emotion of the man, and you have connected it to the space system, so your system subconsciously creates that all these are satisfied and kept in order. So your system already through its position dictates what it receives that it needs for its survival, and it blocks, it creates the reactors to create a field strength that blocks anything or gives a minimum maximum to the structure of the rings. You will see this very soon.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. Have you managed to find that, Rick? We're coming to about 5 o'clock. We can carry on. Yes, yes, in a way, yes, you're perfectly there. That creamish stuff in the middle, which has a name in the world of the scientists, this is in fact where, can you zoom into it? This cavity there where the arrow sits is where all the control of the human body on the emotional side sits. I'm trying to explain to you this for those of you who are medical, understand this maybe for the first time. These layers here are the layers of your emotion. That's why it sits on the top. Immediately can transfer every emotion that through it, this filter here filters the emotional level to the physical level that it can cast and be controlled and transferred in the dimension. This is the filtering from the emotional magnetic field, gravitational strength of the brain to the physical part of the brain. And that's why it works as two halves and exactly what we see two of them. But this is one of the jobs of this place. It's a filtering in respect, if you look at it, and look at the structure of the brain itself and everything else, it's not very far from this side and this side. It's a point of the separation and filtering, and that's all you need because it radiates directly to every part, changing the emotional gravitational magnetic field to the physical part. Maybe some doctors will understand soon exactly what they're going to do with this. Any other question, or we call it a day? We come back on Thursday. Please go back on the teaching today. With this today is, we announced to you some time ago, we are going to bring the blueprint for the space technology, spacecraft, and now you've seen two versions of it. It's for you to decide how you develop it, and in the coming time, very soon, some more of you should be able to show their flight system. We went through this elaborate position of teaching for past 2 years, 3 years, and the step by step that when it comes to this point, you bring all the knowledge together. Maybe this is an exercise for those of you who have graduated or are at the end terms, that you can bring your emotion, your things together as you were taught to control a system. We are on the verge of the man into space without fuel, and now is millions of you who listens, it's your time to try. Those of you who want to go to space, you have every opportunity, at least the base for building your systems. Very easy. If you were involved with the gas reactors, you can still partake. If you're involved in the small gas ball reactors, you still can partake in this. If you got involved at the stage of the coils, you can still partake, bring all your knowledge together, and you have your flight system. Man is ready for space. Now you have to decide when. And I'll tell you one thing, couple of governments, space agencies and militaries are just about a week, 10 days, and a couple of them are about 8 months ahead of you. See you on Thursday. Use the technology for the peace for mankind and share knowledge very rapidly across the whole system. If you are there to gain knowledge or you listen to us and it's been impossible for you to afford to be part of the teaching, go on the website. From Thursday, you make $100, €100 donation to the foundation. You get access to all the teachings, private teachings. We keep the private teaching to private because we bring teachers to teach and develop. And at the same time, we go to the next step of languages, which language you want to be in, and which subjects you want to involve language to be involved in. You're an adult, or you want your child, or you're a teenager, you want to learn that you can teach the others in the teaching of the technology.
Mr. Keshe, about that, what age range will it be for children?
We start from up to 12, and then 12 up to 18, and then the normal sessions which we have.
Okay, thank you.
I think the children and the teenage groups will be a very interesting point.
I think so too. My son is 8 and he's already interested, so that's why I'm asking.
So enroll into the sessions is €100 per year. End of this year finishes by the 30th of December. And you can interest, because what we'll do, which bring practical, children can bring in their tools. We guide you, your parents, to be with them when they're on the site, and let them show what they developed. And the teenagers the same. The Keshe Foundation is open worldwide. As we said, we become one family, so you teach your children as a family not to be ignorant. So we open the doors from where the enrollment starts. We have to see how a reaction is, and then by the second, third week of the March, when the webmasters put everything in the secure condition, we open the doors, and it's going to be a fantastic time. I presume more parents will be there to show what the children can do than the children would like to show they understand more than their parents about the technology. I think the most fun time will be with the, what I call 16, 17, 18-year group, where they bring new insight and a new challenge for us to come across, and to see how we can answer their knowledge, because the school of thought at that age is different. And I'm sure, as I said, we start setting up the teaching, laboratory tests, and workshops across the world. The first one we announced, it can be done in sometimes in March in the Keshe Foundation at Barletta. The full capacity is about 100 seats. So we have access to everything there. They can show you the labs to set up things and do things. And then we try to keep at least 1 or 2 weekends teaching in Italy. Then we bring the teachings to the other positions around the world. And I have to explain to you, due to what we released today and due to other works which is going in the background, Keshe Foundation will announce in the coming time collaboration with militaries, with the government military officers to convert, to show that there is another avenue that we can change the work of the soldiers to social workers. We have taken this step, and I am emphasizing even in my communication, which will come out later on. We are interfacing, interacting with military forces collectively, not by one or the other. As they've been sitting around, we have two choices. As I said, we collaborate with all the security services. We invite the American Secret Service, Security Service, the same as the Western Europe, the same as Russian and the Chinese, the same as Mossad and Iranian intelligence services and the Arabs. Because now instead of us putting up a protection, we put a total as one family protection for all the people who are using the technology. We have to do it. We got to the stage now that we work, we talk direct into the military organizations to teach them about the space technology, the defense technology, and in the coming time we put sessions especially for militaries. We put the special teachings for doctors and we put a special teaching for a space scientist. Then we all come together. At the beginning it looks a little bit harsh, but in fact they've been sitting with us. If we do not bring them in, then we'll find the same messes today. One thing which we do not need is the picture which came to me in the past few days, and I promise one thing, this should not happen with our technology. This came out of the greed, and I sent it to Rick. I said, keep this for today's teaching. This is what we want to avoid. Rick, can you put that on the table? I send you a picture. Are you there? This is where mankind has gone wrong. River of blood in Syria. But no one cares because it's not Paris. What you see red on the floor is the blood of man, and our technology should not go this way. Thank you very much.
Keshe, and I think I'll play the Dubai promo video maybe as an ending here.
Yes, please. Please do your booking because we see the booking coming in heavily. And as we said, we keep to our ethos. We will invite the officials, and with what we stand today, we will invite the head of militaries to attend the session too, because they have to see how human beings have come together. There is no room for military, but there is a room for collaboration because they carry a lot of ethos with them. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
You're invited to partake in the creation of humanity's first Universal Community Council on April 21st and 22nd, 2016 in Dubai at the One Planet, One Nation, One Race Conference. World leaders and prominent business persons have been invited to attend. However, representatives of the Council will be selected irrespective of language, race, creed, or position in life. The Council will have many responsibilities. It will support the people of humanity and their governments. It will help bring balance across the globe and unite humanity for the benefit of all mankind. It will act as a bridge between humanity and the universal community. The first 500 packages sold will cost €500. All thereafter, €750, which includes 1 seat in the main conference room and 3 nights stay in Dubai's prestigious 5-star Alanis Palm Hotel, 2 persons per room. Breakfast on the days of the conference are also included. 2 tea breaks and 1 lunch per day will cost an additional €75 per day. Discount airfares are also available. The One Planet, One Nation, One Race Conference. You're invited. We hope to see you there.
And so ends the 6th International Knowledge Seekers Workshop for the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute for Tuesday, February 23rd, 2016. And as ever, thank you everybody for attending.
Thank you, Rick.